So hey GBA fans, it's Xilicks here, and welcome back to some more of the Fantasy League. So we're up here at week 9. As you guys noticed, there wasn't a week 8 video. The reason for that is because Dallas Staryu, who runs the fan document and also does some things for the Fantasy League, was pretty sick, but he has recovered and has been helping me finish up for the week 7 stuff and the week 8 stuff. We did have the week 8 form, but it was only in the fan Discord, so I know a lot of people missed out on it. But after this week, things will be back to normal, and we are going to go over the week 7 results and the week 8 results at the start of this video, and then move on to the you pick 6, and then the next video should be normal, back to normal. Alright, so taking a look at our week 7 recap. Keep in mind this is the recap for week 7. We see that the top player was a tie between Flygon Battles and the Welsh Wall, both with 60 points, so congratulations to them. We can see our all-star was Defensive Slowbro again with 19 points. Not as many as last time Slowbro had the all-star position, but still quite a lot of points. Then we have our Coach of the Week, who was Gator, scoring a 5-0 victory. So anyone who picked Gator would receive 8 points for that week. So moving over to the week 7 page on the fan document, we can see here all of the different scores from week 7. As you can see, Gator was at the top with the 5-0, scoring anyone who picked him as their coach 8 points. We can see that Slowbro was the week 7 all-star, so anyone who picked Slowbro as the all-star would get 24 points. We can see my pick 6 from week 7, and I scored 38 points, so anyone who beat me, good job there. And then looking at our offensive ranking, our top 3 consist of Mamoswine with 16 points, Virizion with 15, and Swallow also scoring 15. Then our defensive ranking, we have Slowbro with 19, Salamence with 10, and Milotic with 9. Scrolling through so you guys can see the rest of the offensive and defensive mons. Nothing too crazy, too special here, just some regular stuff all around. Looking now at the week 7 player rankings, this can be found on the fantasy sheet down in this description below. We can see that Flygon Battles and the Welsh Wall both tied. If we scroll all the way over to the right, you can see the points. They had 60. Remember, if you're on this page, you can find your name with Control F. And yeah, you can scroll through and see all of the different points, the different rankings, how well you did from week 7 if you decided to participate. Alright, so now taking a look at our week 8 recap. Now remember, not as many people did play this week, and a lot of people didn't know about it. Again, not much we really could have done as there wasn't a video last week, but that said, everything should be back to normal after this week. So yeah, our top player was Bonsai Muskrat, scoring 32 points, so congratulations to them. Our all-star was Offensive Jirachi, getting that 6-0 sweep versus, I believe, Tom. And then we have Mono with the Coach of the Week, getting that 6-0 victory over Tom and the San Jose Sharpedos. So taking a look at our week 8 page of the fantasy document, should be linked down below. We can see that Mono was at the top, and the rest of the teams are in their respective rankings. Jirachi is here with the 35 points, so anyone who picked Jirachi as the all-star would be scoring a whopping 40 points. I did not have a pick 6 from last week, as there wasn't a video, so you know, no points for me, but a lot of other people didn't play this week, so that's kind of expected. So looking at our offensive ranking, this week was kind of interesting. You know, we have Jirachi at the top, Mew, which is, you know, Mew's been at the top, but Mew got a pretty decent sweep, and then we have, you know, Dragonite, things like Gligar at the top, which is always cool to see, Venusaur even. And then moving over to our defensive rankings, you know, Celebi, Empoleon, which is typically at the top, Jirachi, which, you know, sat on the field for a while with its Calm Mind boost, and then, you know, things like Heatran, Latios, Tyranitar, kind of expected things. Virizion did get hit with a few super effective hits, so we do see that up there. Then just scrolling through so you guys can see the rest of the rankings from Week 8. Remember, this is on the Week 8 page of the fan document. Moving over to the Week 8 player standings, again, not too many people played this week, so don't be like upset or whatever. This week wasn't like a huge week anyways. We might not even count it as far as like the big picture goes. I mean, we probably will, but again, the notification for this was in the fan Discord, so if you're not in there, that's the best place to get updates on like if a fantasy video is going to be late or missing. Go to the fan Discord, you'll see it all there. So yeah, all the people here are in the fan Discord, so shout outs to them. And we can scroll over all the way to the right to see the total, very close here with 32 and 31 at the end. But yeah. Alright, so getting into our You Pick 6 section for this week, I have some interesting choices this week. So starting off with the offensive picks, I have the Kiram Black from the Philadelphia Scissors. They go against the Free State Torcats this week, and I picked Kiram just because the Free State Torcats defensively don't have too many reliable switch-ins. They do have, you know, a couple mons that can take a hit or two, definitely depending on the Kiram set. It really has the offensive coverage to hit everything on the Torcats team, whether it's neutrally or super effective, and we have seen Chimpact play pretty intelligently with his mon, so I imagine that this week will be no exception as far as its offensive capabilities. Next up, I have the Torrent Greninja from the Tampa Bay Luxrays, and they go up against Borussia Donphan this week. Now, most of the Donphan's walls being things like Donphan, Latias, Celebi, Rotom Heat come to mind. Greninja just rips through them. I mean, there's not much the Donphans and Lars can really do to stop Greninja. Obviously, you know, he can run certain Scarf Mons and deal with it that way, but it's definitely a threat, and if Mono plays it the right way, then he can definitely be successful with this thing, and I imagine that he will, just because of how he's been using it this season. Next up, we have Swallow from the Utah Jasmine, and they play the Detroit Steel Wings this week. Now, Crimson and the Detroit Steel Wings don't have many reliable switch-ins. They do have some depending on how the Swallow is built. Like, for example, if the Swallow is more physically offensive, then they can have switch-ins to it with things like the Slowbro. However, if the Swallow is more specially offensive, then really the only switch-in that comes to mind is like an Eviolite Magneton, which doesn't want to take too many heat waves, and even if he decides to run something like the HP Ground, which I doubt he would because he might want different moves, but in the event that he prepares for it, it is an option, and the Swallow can definitely put in some huge offensive damage. One thing I just want to remind everyone before we move into the defensive picks is the matches for Week 9 mirror those matches from Week 3. So if you guys want to look back to Week 3 to see what worked then, keep in mind there have been many trades since then. But yeah, it's just something to think about. The matches are exactly the same, so it's just you can either go with your original picks from Week 3, or maybe you can see, you know, what was good in Week 3, what didn't do so well. But yeah, just something to keep in mind. So moving into our defensive picks, I have Scizor from the St. Louis Rampardos. They go up against the Florida Gators. Now, last time that Dan and Gator battled, we saw Terrakion put in a lot of offensive pressure, and I think that Gator is going to prepare for that a little bit better, so I decided to have Scizor as a defensive pick because it can, like, obviously if Dan runs it defensively, it could switch into things like the Diggersby, like the Mamoswine, like the Whimsicott if it's not running HP Fire, which it most likely will be. The only thing it doesn't really switch into is obviously like the Heatran, and it's not going to 1v1 a Pyukumuku too well. It could knock off its item though, which it has that capability, getting some utility points there. and I think it'll definitely take quite a few resisted hits if Dan decides to run it defensively this week. Next up, I have the Primarina from the Borussia Donphan, and as I said before, the Donphans go up against the Luxrays, and Primarina, if it's defensive, can switch into Greninja. Obviously, it doesn't want to take like a gunk shot, and it doesn't take well to a grass knot, but if anything, I think that this thing is going to get some resisted hits, whether it's like the Buzzwole going for a bug or fighting move, or the Greninja going for a water or dark move. Just in general, I think this thing could take a couple hits here and there, maybe get some statuses off if he's not running Assault Vest. But yeah, we've seen that Lars has run this thing kind of defensively in the past to take on certain mons, and I predict that he may do that again. In our last defensive position, we have the Drapion from the San Francisco Arcaniners, who go up against the Pittsburgh Piratas this week. And I think that this pick is probably the weakest of my picks. The only reason I picked it is because I just think it might do well. I think he might go for a lot of knockoffs. I predict potential Toxic Spikes even, which we have seen in the past a couple times. And I don't know, I feel like that Drapion is going to score quite a few utility points this week, and if it does, that'd be great, but if it doesn't, oh well, it's just kind of a random pick that I hope does well. So that is going to be it for this week's fantasy video. Just a reminder, the upcoming weeks will be normal. If they aren't though, make sure to join the Discord to get any potential updates, and just have discussion with the fans, the coaches, the analysts, all that good stuff. Make sure to check the description to not only see the rules if you're new to Fantasy Week, but also check out the form that you can fill out below if you yourself want to play, and also all the links to the coaches and the fan document, the Google Sheet, all that stuff is down below in the description for your clicking. I'll see you guys next time. I'm Xilicks, Bye.